When the mistake wave hit, all electronic systems on board the Poohove died, including the water recovery systems, the oxygen generation systems, and the thermostats. With these systems gone, the crew of the Poohove had only 3.5 hours of breathable air left in the ship before all 650 people on board would die. The executives of the Poohove spent the next hour coming up with a survival plan, while stoking the growing panic of the rest of the crew. Captain Ernie Wrench 1 insisted that the survival plan be one that would supply food, oxygen, and heat to all 650 people on board. Very quickly, it was determined that the saving grace of the Poohove would be in the plants that decorated the ship. These plants were used for scientific experiments, food, decoration, and, yes, even as an organic means of life support. It's important to remember that the Poohove was the crown jewel of the former Uzhuyong Republic, and that one of the hallmarks of Uzhuyongi architecture was a preponderance of plants. Unfortunately, these plants were scattered throughout the 135 square fathoms of the ship. For reference, this is the area of about 4.5 oddball fields. So the plants had to be moved. Warmth would be supplied by the now dead engine. After all, they still had plenty of fuel which could be burned. This fuel was also fortunately based off of liquid hydrogen and oxygen, which also helped answer the questions of oxygen and water. The final hurdle of the survival plan was determining where to keep all the people on board. There wasn't enough room in any one part of the ship to keep everyone safe, so 3 sections were set up and prepared to be sealed. These sections were the aft fuselage, which would have access to the most heat, the kitchen, which would have access to the most oxygen, and the flight deck, which would be the most comfortable. Each of these sections would be able to house 217 people each. By the time the plan was made, the executives had 2 hours to execute before oxygen depleted and everyone would die.